They reach their destination. Cyan comes out of the carriage and thinks, I can't believe the day has already come. Time sure flies by. He greets the Duke. The Duke says, I'll ask you one last time. Are you still determined to go to the battlefront? If you want to back out now, I won't stop you. Cyan says, yes, sir. My heart already lies at the battlefront. The Duke asks Yulkin to open something. Yulkin brings a scroll. Cyan sees it and thinks, a magic scroll? Are they summoning something? Yulkin uses the magic scroll, and a hellhound appears in front of them. Cyan thinks, a hellhound? A low-ranked demonic beast from the Lemia Valley? Huh. The knights and father must have had a hard time preparing for this test. So they'll sweep in if it gets dangerous? The Duke tells Cyan, you must be responsible for your every action. So, prove how strong your resolve is by passing this trial and showing it to us. Yulkin thinks, a trial, huh? We see a flashback where Yulkin says, did you just say that you want to duel with me? Cyan replies, there are only 3 days left until the deadline of my promise with my father. I can't just keep swinging my sword in the air now, can I? I want to get a sense of a real fight too. Help me out, yeah? Yulkin tells him, for a duel, someone your age, like young Master Krantz, would be better suited. Cyan replies, I'm not sure why, but he runs away every time he sees me, so? Yulkin thinks, what a hassle. Yulkin says, if you insist, okay, but I'll only fight you with my sword's sheath. I'll focus only on defense, so attack me all you want. Cyan says, thanks, Yulkin. I have another favor to ask. Whatever happens from this point on, don't tell father about it. This is an order. Yulkin is confused. Cyan appears in front of Yulkin really fast. Yulkin blocks the attack and is surprised, thinking, that was heavy. I can't believe this. That was the sword of a 10-year-old? He's quick. Cyan disappears from his sight and then appears above him. Yulkin thinks, when did he? Yulkin blocks the attack. They exchange many blows. Cyan uses a powerful swing and says, as I thought, I can't win against you yet. Good job, Yulkin. Thanks for helping me. Yulkin, tired, says, great job, young master. Yulkin thinks, I can't believe the weak young Master Cyan has grown so much. If the hunch I had back then was right, by now, the young master can overcome any trial that comes his way. The hellhound jumps towards Cyan. Cyan gets ready to fight and thinks, here it comes. Cyan attacks the hellhound with a powerful strike. He thinks, with my current strength, fighting a monster is still too much. I gotta end this battle as quickly as possible. The hellhound loses an eye. Cyan thinks, I'm going to kill it off with this attack. Cyan strikes the neck of the hellhound. Everyone is surprised to see him fight. The Duke smiles. Cyan thinks, it feels like a waste. This much blood could fill a few bottles. If I did something like that here, they'd think I'm crazy. The Duke comes near him, clapping, and says, impressive, Cyan. I'll see you at the battlefront. Cyan says, thank you, father. Demonic swords appear, and one says, Master, do I look like a kitchen knife to you? Cyan replies, no, of course not. You're a demonic sword. Why do you say that? She says, then use me, damn it. I need blood to gain strength. Please, just let me have one gulp. Cyan says, don't you worry, because soon, I'm going to use you to my heart's content. Look forward to it. She is angry and says, then that's when you should have woken me up. After that, we see a really big ogre attacking the Duke and knights. The Duke shouts, it's an ogre. Ogre in the northwest. Set up a line of defense and take it out right away. Leave none alive. Start the restraint of salvation. All the knights scream. After that, we see a magic circle appear on the battlefield. There are a lot of ogres. They use magic to restrain the ogres. The Duke orders an attack. They start to attack the ogres. The ogres try to struggle for their lives. Cyan and his maid are also there. His maid is really scared. She says, young master, why did you want to come to a place like this? He thinks, to think I'd be back here. I feel nostalgic. The Duke asks Cyan, how does it feel to be on the front lines, Cyan? Cyan replies, I'm a bit nervous. The Duke tells him, as you can see, you will never know when you'll die in this place. so don't ever let your guard down. Cyan replies, okay, I will keep that in mind, father. He thinks, on the front lines, situations like this are a dime a dozen. There are usually 3 to 4 battles a day, and every battle has its own detailed response manual. With the capable advanced knights as the core, they take care of all the monsters that try to cross the front lines. The tent I'm assigned to in this place is in the rearmost area, where it's the safest. With the guards here being so disciplined, I won't even have a chance to feed Kiram. Do I really have to wait until dinner time? He asks Emily, what are you doing? She is really scared and tells Cyan, didn't the Duke tell us? That we won't know when and where we would die. Cyan asks, then why don't you pack up and return? She shouts and asks, do you think I can? When you can't even do anything without me? With the monsters all over the place, if I were to turn tail, who would take care of you, young master? Move. It's almost time to eat. Cyan asks her, Emily, what about the cape that I requested? He gets angry and thinks, should I just chase her away? Is this how she treats her master? He puts a dummy of himself on the bed and says, this should be enough, right? Emily asks, are you planning to go out to exercise, even in this place? He tells her, yeah, did I wake you up? She says, you sure are diligent. The Duke would be proud of you if he were to find out. Anyway, I'll get going, so please take care of things as usual. He is about to leave and tells her, I'm asleep right now. Got it? He thinks, because this is the front line, night guard duties are usually strengthened. So if I don't move at this time, moving around freely will be difficult. He uses thick fog third move, Fog's Descent. He thinks, if I remember correctly, there should be tons of monsters in this place. It's the perfect place to use Kiram. Isn't that right, Kiram? Kiram says, this strong scent of blood. Master, I don't think I can hold back. Quickly, let me cut something down. Hellhounds attack him. He says, all right, Kiram, we'll do as you please. He starts to cut down the hellhounds. He uses Fog Sword, Rushing Fog Storm. He kills all the hellhounds. He stabs one of them and puts its blood in a cup and drinks it. Cyan gets really excited and says, this is the stuff. Kiram says, it's my first time feeling so refreshed after waking up. Good. We'll keep training like this. Some hellhounds appear behind him. She says, how long do you think it will take for us to get stronger by killing these mutts? Cyan smiles and says, don't worry. The night is young, and there are plenty of monsters. There are a lot of monsters in front of them. Kiram says, I'm getting excited. After that, we see 2 carriages of nobles protected by knights passing by. One of them says, I still think the front line is too dangerous. Why don't we turn back? A white-haired noble says, I told you not to treat me like a child. I'm the royal princess of the empire. How many times must I tell you that I'm bound to my duty to assist father in his tours? I really will get mad if you mention this again. Her escort says, understood, princess. That reminds me. There's news saying the youngest son of the Vert family is on the front lines. He should be around the same age as you. The princess says, that Duke Vert brought his youngest son? Her escort tells her the Duke wasn't really going to bring him. The kid volunteered himself. You guys are about the same age, so you should try to get along. The princess says, like I care about such a trivial thing. Forget it. I'm going to get some sleep. The princess asks, what's his name? Her escort tells her, it's Cyan. I'm pretty sure he's called Cyan Vert. The princess asks, Cyan? Cyan Vert? Huh. After that, we see the Duke kill a monster and say, check if anyone's been injured. A knight says, everyone is okay. The Duke tells the knights, good work. Let's hurry back. Cyan is also there. The Duke asks him, how are you adjusting to life on the front lines? I'm learning something new every day, father. Is that so? I thought you'd want to hurry back. You've endured for quite some time. I'm very proud of you. Cyan is surprised and thinks, what? The Duke tells him, I have something to talk to you about tomorrow, so come to my tent early in the morning. Cyan thinks, I've never seen father be so kind before. He replies, yes, father. After that, we see at night, Cyan is killing monsters. A deathworm attacks him. He says, They should usually only appear deeper in the valley. Kirim asks, Master, you seem to be struggling. Why don't you let me take over instead? Cyan asks, Let you take over? You think I'm unaware of your schemes? Kirim replies, It's not like that. I swear I'll use it for a bit, and then allow you to take over. Do you see that? It immediately regenerates any shallow injuries. It won't be of any use to keep attacking him. Cyan thinks, she's right. This will just continue on forever at this rate. It's already been a month since I've come to the front lines. I've drunk the blood of countless demonic beasts, but I feel that still wasn't enough. I guess I have no choice. The death worm attacks him. Cyan says, I'll play along with whatever you're planning for now, Kirim. Kirim says, All right, let's go wild. She uses thick fog ninth form, demonic sword manifestation. The death worm gets hit by hundreds of slashes in an instant. Cyan thinks, I'll rip your thick skin to pieces. The death worm screams. Cyan uses fog sword, 8 fluttering petals. Cyan hits the worm with a really powerful attack. The worm gets cut into hundreds of pieces. After that, the Duke sees a lot of dead monsters and says, It hasn't been long since they were killed. Yulkin asks, The mana seems quite imposing. Could it have been a demon that did this? The Duke replies, We cannot overlook this if a demon was involved. Inspect the area and burn this corpse immediately. He thinks, These sword traces look familiar. Is it just deja vu? Yulkin calls the Duke and says, Your Grace, I think you need to see this. They see a dead death worm. The Duke asks, Who could have slain a death worm like this? Could it have been that organization? After that, Cyan thinks, Demonic sword manifestation. It lets Kirim take over my body so that she can use her true powers. But she can completely take over me if I let my guard down. Cyan has an evil and excited smile on his face. Cyan is in his bed and thinks, which is why me using her to take down just one monster is actually insane. It's a good thing I drank all that demonic beast blood. Had it been a month ago, my body would have broken down. Kirim says, I get it now. It's just your outer appearance that's of a kid. You don't act or talk like one. The level at which you handle me is too proficient for a first-timer. You know the entire geography of the Lemia Valley too. Your sword techniques are that of mists, and it's as if you've trained for 30 years at least. Plus, you said you've already died once, no? I'm certain now. You're a regressor, right? Cyan says, Doesn't it imply that if I say that I already died before? I thought I made it obvious enough. Kirim gets angry and says, How is it obvious when you haven't explained shit? He tells her, I'm too lazy for that. She says, Anyway, killing someone like you must have been hard. If I were to guess, you were killed by the owner of Durandark. There are 2 possibilities. You were either killed in a duel or betrayed. And I feel it was definitely the latter. He asks, Why do you think that? She tells him, You look at the holy sword like you stepped in shit. I'd be an idiot if I couldn't tell from that. So your goal must be revenge. Either way, just keep this in mind. If I catch you faltering or losing, I'm going to swallow you up. Cyan hits her with a punch and says, Know your place. I'm not an idiot. Cyan smiles and thinks, She hasn't changed at all. She's the same as she was in my previous life. After that, he comes out of his tent. He sees all the knights walking around and thinks, What's happening? It seems a bit chaotic today. Emily gets to him and says, Young master, you're up. Cyan asks Emily, Did something happen? She replies, Yes. Apparently, a high-level monster's corpse was found near the entrance of the valley. Cyan thinks, Is she talking about the death worm? She says, It's been so long since there was a sighting of a high-level monster near the camps. Cyan asks, Anything else? She is surprised and says, Pardon? Cyan asks, Was there any talk of anything else? Like sightings of a suspicious person or something about me? Yulkin gets there and calls, Young Master Cyan, the Duke wants to see you right away. Cyan thinks, This is a pain. I couldn't take care of the corpses of the monsters because the soldiers suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Cyan is angry and thinks, My plan was to enjoy a quiet life before entering the academy. Cyan gets in front of the Duke and says, I, the youngest son of the Verts, greet my father. Cyan thinks, father would notice that it was me. The Duke says, yes, Cyan. Cyan thinks, if he asks me about yesterday's incident. The Duke tells him to have a seat. Cyan thinks, what kind of excuse can I even make? The Duke asks, I'll be direct. What were you doing last night? Cyan says, I went to bed early as I was tired. The Duke thinks, went to bed early? But those sword traces reminded me of Cyan's sword. Techniques. Was I overthinking it? Cyan says, why do you ask? The Duke thinks, it's hard to believe that a child this young could have slain a death worm. Plus, the Duke tells him, I'm sure you've heard about what happened near the camps last night. We'll have to look into it more, but it seems like the work of a secret assassin organization, Mist. Cyan asks, Mist? The Duke tells him, it's an organization that has existed since ancient times. We do not know their goals, but they have assassinated countless nobles under the excuse of purification. They're infamous for leaving behind a black fog wherever they are. But one day, they disappeared. They were last seen 300 years ago. But the corpse of the death worm from last night was shrouded in black fog. Black fog is the trace left behind by Eru, the god of darkness, the very god worshipped by Mist and the source of their power. If my assumptions are correct, it was Mist that slew the death worm and the other demonic beasts. Cyan is really surprised and thinks, that's amazing. He was able to precisely pinpoint who the culprit was, despite the organization having been last seen 3 centuries ago. The Duke tells him, we can't guess the reason for their sudden appearance, but you should be careful. Nonetheless, I'll notify the Empire about this and investigate further. Cyan says, yes, father. Cyan thinks, I guess this means he's going to believe me? The Duke thinks, it'd make no sense for Cyan to be involved with such an organization when he's this young. He tells Cyan, that's enough for this conversation. Were you told who's visiting today? Cyan replies, I did hear that His Majesty will be visiting, but was that supposed to be today? The Duke tells him, yes, I wanted to ask you for a favor regarding that. Cyan says, a favor? After that, we see the knights blow the horn and shout, here comes His Majesty, the Emperor. The Duke, Cyan, and all the knights kneel, and the Duke says, I, the Lord of Velias, greet the Honorable Emperor, His Majesty. The Emperor says, Villiarth, we're old friends. Don't be so polite. The Duke says, Your Majesty. The Emperor sees Cyan and says, is it that child? Cyan greets the Emperor and introduces himself. The Emperor says, for a boy this young to be residing in such a rough environment, your children are definitely different from the ordinary ones. Cyan thinks, I was wondering what the favor was going to be, but he just wanted me to appeal to myself as his son. I was always cooped up in the mansion in my past life when the Emperor visited. I'm so deeply touched by father's trust. The Emperor says, splendid. I wanted to introduce someone as well. The princess introduces herself, saying, I'm the 5th princess of the Ushif Empire, Erin Severus. Cyan thinks, Erin Severus, the tragic 5th princess? He thinks of the Duke saying, you'll need to escort Princess Erin for the day. Cyan asks, how? The Duke says, no need to be so surprised. You just need to keep her company. You're the same age as her. You'll see her once you enter the academy too. Cyan thinks, I do recall seeing her in the academy in my past life. I saw her a few times between classes. The Duke tells him, there's no harm in becoming acquainted with someone of the royal family. It won't be long, but I just want you to get along. Cyan thinks, I don't really want to do it, but I understand father's intentions. He probably wishes that we develop a friendship like he has with the Emperor, but he's picked the wrong person for it. She cannot become my friend. Although I can't say that since that's a future only I know of. It's annoying, but I'll have to just be obedient for now. After that, we see Cyan escorting Erin. Erin asks, why is that river so red? Cyan says, you mean the Blood River? She asks, Blood River? He tells her, it's a stream that runs through the entirety of the Lemia Valley. There isn't any complex reason as to why the water is red. The demonic beasts who are old or injured and can no longer fairly compete with others for survival will instinctively jump into the Blood River. The demonic beast's corpses and bodily fluids will then melt into the river, turning it red from the decomposition by the mana. She is surprised and asks, "So that's all demonic beast's bodily fluids and corpses?" Cyan tells her, "Yes, they also drink and wash in it. It's very disgusting. Don't go in it." She asks, "What's at the end of the river?" He replies, "The demon realm." Eren asks, "Demon realm? Where the demons live?" Cyan says, "Yes, if you keep following this river, you'll even meet the Demon King." Cyan thinks, although no sane person would do that. It's amusing to make fun of her. There is a bright light in front of them. Eren says, "What's that light?" Cyan says, "That's the 3rd sentry post in the west. A yellow light signifies incoming demonic beasts." "There are demonic beasts here?" The Duke says, "Protect His Majesty. Guardian Knight Division troops will come with me to the 3rd sentry post in the west." The Emperor says, "Don't be like that, Villiers." The Duke says, "Your Majesty?" The Emperor says, "You think I'm here to go on a hike? I've been starting to get really bored anyway." The Duke says, "All right, Your Majesty." The Emperor says, "We will join in the demonic beast raid. Focus on killing the demonic beasts until the raid is over." The Duke says, "You join too, Cyan." He says, "Yes, Father." Eren says, "You can fight the demonic beasts?" He says, "Yes, although I'm still just supporting from the back. You should get to the shelter." She says, "Take me with you." He thinks, "What the hell is this kid saying?" She says, "You said you're the same age as me. Then I can come too." He tells her, "People die here. It's not a playground." Eren says, "I don't care. I'm going, and no one can stop me." Yulkin says, "Yes, young master. I, Yulkin, will substitute for the Royal Knights and escort Her Highness to safety in the camps." Yulkin says, "Let's go, Your Highness." Eren says, "Impudent. How dare you treat me, a princess, in such a manner?" Cyan says, "Dozens of knights might die because of your stubbornness. A split-second decision can decide your fate of either dying or surviving in a war. Can you take responsibility for all those lives?" Cyan says, "Go back if you're gonna cry like a child, Your Highness. There are really big snails. Get back into formation. Protect His Majesty and slay all the monsters. Do not spare even a single one of them." He thinks Dion Severus, the emperor of the Ushif Empire, had 2 wives. Diana Quazel was the first wife, but she is now dead. Cassandra Nepellus is the second wife and considered the prominent judiciary of the empire. The former empress gave birth to the first and second princesses, and the current empress gave birth to the 3rd prince and 4th prince. However, Eren Severus, the 5th princess, was a bastardized daughter born to some peasant mistress. People treated her as something like a scarecrow of a princess for her mixed blood, but she did not care about how others perceived her. She fulfilled her duty as a part of the royal family and devoted herself to her studies more than anyone. However, she was framed for treason by those who resented her, and she was kicked out of the royal family and the empire. Rumors spread that she died alone from a disease on an island. Because of that, people called her the tragic princess. She could have lived a happy life had she not been greedy. It would have been better for her to live without any ambition. Karam says, "Isn't that what your father always told you in your past life?" Cyan says, "It's different. That's what royal politics are like. All the monsters are dead." Cyan thinks, the emperor sure is skilled. The emperor uses holy lightning. He thinks, Emperor Dion is known to the public for being an 8-star in magic rank. Had he not become an emperor, he probably would have been the Mage Association's head. I'm sure an intermediate rank demonic beast is no problem for him. I guess you could say that being an emperor is his hobby. The emperor says, "It's been a while since I shared a drink with you, Villiers, although I do feel quite lonesome that it's only me drinking." The Duke says, "I'm sorry. I do not allow myself to drink on the front lines." The emperor says, "Anyway, I was reminded when you asked me about the current atmosphere in the empire." The Duke says, "There has been a recent spike in assassinations of nobles. It's causing a lot of anxiety. Are there any patterns to these assassinations?" The emperor says, "Yes. All of the assassinated nobles were corrupt officials. Plus, Black Fog was present at all of the murder scenes. Do you have an idea? I did find traces of them here yesterday. It seems like the Black Fog followers have been on the move again. The Emperor says, it makes sense, but you'll need to look into it more. I do appreciate that you're taking care of the garbage, but I can't just sit by and watch as the people grow more anxious. There's something else that concerns me. The Duke asks, what is it? The Emperor says, some damn noble is blabbering that this is the 5th princess's fault. The Duke says, you mean there are people trying to tie Princess Erin to those incidents? The Emperor says, I've been suppressing them by shrugging it off as nonsense, but it seems like there is a group that wants to use her. Let me ask you for a favor as a friend, and not as an emperor. If I end up dying before you, please take care of that child. The Duke says, I, Villiers, will carry out your Majesty's orders to completion. The Emperor says, thank you. Emily asks, that's all? Cyan says, what more did you expect? She's the princess. You just ended the escort there? Emily says, you're never gonna get married at this rate. He thinks, I wasn't going on a date. Cyan says, anyway, I'll trust you to take care of things while I'm gone. She says, are you going training again? It's raining so hard. He tells her, don't worry about it, and don't stay up waiting for me either. Emily says, who are you? Erin also gets there and asks, where were you gonna go? Sorry, but can we talk if you're not busy? Emily is excited to see her, Your Highness. After that, Erin says, how long has it been since you got here? Cyan says, about a month. Why did you come to see me? Erin says, can you excuse us for a bit? Cyan says, go outside for a bit, Emily. Emily says, all right, have a good time together. Cyan thinks, a good time with a 10-year-old? No. Erin tells him, I'm sorry about what happened earlier. I feel like I didn't act as a princess should. Cyan says, you don't need to worry about that. I apologize for being rude. Erin says, no, I would have said the same thing if I were you. You're acknowledged by a lot of people, unlike me, and you're a lot more mature. He thinks, so that's the kind of personality she has. Erin says, right, you're entering the academy too, right? Let's be. Cyan says, I'm sorry, but I don't believe I can be of any help to you. If you're here to make friends, please leave. She says, I just wanted us to be on good terms. You're harsh. She starts to cry and says, do you also think that I'm just a shell of a princess? He says, I understand. I guess there's no benefit in being friends with me. Sorry for wasting your time. Erin says, I guess I was short-sighted. I thought maybe we could at least talk. But you're completely different from Sir Askel. He is really surprised. He thinks, what did she just say? She says, what's with you? Cyan says, Askel? No, how do you know my brother? Erin says, I got to know him when I was touring the Royal Academy last year. He grabs her by the hand. She says, he advised me not to care about what others think and that I should just fulfill my role as a princess. He thinks, advised? As if, I know that demonic bastard's personality better than anyone. It already began as soon as she met him. The plan to bring down Princess Erin. Cyan says, let me warn you. Emily says, young master, you have to run. A monster falls from the roof. A monster appears in front of him. The knights say, damn it, that's the young master's tent. Hurry, check if the young master is okay. Emily screams, young master, what? The Emperor says, what did you just say? A knight says, advanced rank demonic beasts ambush the rear camps of the border regions. I think the princess was there when it happened. The Emperor says, everyone in the Imperial Army, to the rear camps immediately. We need to secure the safety of the princess. Yes, Your Majesty. The Emperor thinks, she was in the rear camps? Whom was she going to see? After that, we see Cyan is fine and is watching the monster. He thinks, Deathworm and ogres too. They should only reside in the deeper regions of the valley. But for them to be here in the rear camps, something must have changed. Is it because of me? Emily says, young master, I thought you were really dead. I'll never leave your side again. We see a flashback. The roof of the tent breaks. He grabs Eren and jumps. He thinks, back in my day, I even killed the Demon King, as if I'd die from some mere troll. Eren asks, do you think the knights in the camps are okay? Emily says, don't worry, Your Highness. The knights are really strong. She has tears in her eyes and says, this wouldn't have happened if I didn't come here. The knights that came with me are. One of the knights says, we're okay, Your Highness. It's given that we would protect you as the knights of the Empire. Another knight says, he's right, Your Highness. We'll protect you with our lives. Cyan says, move. A really big hand appears behind a knight. It grabs the knight and squeezes him. It's a troll. Cyan appears in front of Eren to protect her from the troll. The troll sees Cyan and gets angry. Cyan thinks, I knew it. It's me that it wants. He says, I'll distract the troll, so get away with the princess. Emily says, okay. Emily grabs Eren and says, what are you doing, Mr. Knight? Let's go. Cyan is frustrated and thinks, she was really eager to leave, huh? The troll screams. Cyan starts to attack the trolls. Cyan thinks, why are the advanced rank demonic beasts all attracted to me? I feel like they're smelling something on me. Kirim says, you drank the blood of countless demonic beasts in order to become strong, and that's why you reek of them. It'd be weird if they didn't come for you. Cyan asks, what? You knew about this? Why are you telling me now? She says, did you forget? What I want is your body. Cyan grabs her. She says, what are you doing? He tells her to shut up. She says, please treat me better. The troll is about to attack. Cyan says to her, I don't care how many monsters come at me. Cyan cuts off one of the troll's arms and also cuts off its head. Cyan says, now that no one's watching, let's go sip on some advanced rank demonic beast blood. There are a lot of trolls, ogres, and hellhounds in front of him. Kirim says, it's gonna be a feast. Cyan is surprised to see something and says, wait, is that a devil dragon? A really big and strong-looking purple dragon appears there. It screams really loudly. Kirim says, no, it's still a baby. I guess he also smelled you. Cyan gets really excited and thinks, it doesn't matter why the dragon is here. He uses demonic sword manifest. He thinks, what matters is that I catch that thing. Cyan says, you have to catch that dragon. No, you have to eat it. An ogre gets attacked by light arrows. The emperor asks, is this the last one, Villiers? The duke says, yes, it seems so. The emperor asks, what about the princess and your son? The duke tells him, I can't find their traces past the tent. I'm sorry. The emperor says, it's fine. I'm sure you're worried about your son too. The duke says, there's no need to worry about him. What matters right now is the princess. The emperor says, that's cold. Is he really your son? The duke says, a vert should know how to look out for himself. A knight comes running and says, Your Highness, we've found Her Highness. The emperor asks, are you sure? She gets there. The emperor asks her, are you hurt anywhere? She says, hurry. We need to save him. The emperor asks, save who? She tells him about Cyan. The emperor tells her to calm down and tell him what's going on. The duke says, you're Cyan's maid, are you not? Emily says, yes, I am, Your Grace. He says, you tell me, has something happened to Cyan? Emily is really scared and thinks, I'm scared. I've never seen the duke look so scary before. She tells the duke, the young master acted as bait in order to give us time to run away. A knight says, I remember where he was last. If you just give me an order, I will go with others to save the young master. The emperor says, what are you waiting for, Villiers? Hurry. The duke says, we are not doing that. They are surprised, and the emperor asks, are you serious? The duke says, we must take care of this situation first. If these camps fall, the demonic beasts will invade the empire. We must reconstruct the place right away. That is the only way to prevent more deaths. Emily asks, then what about the young master? The duke tells them, he's done his duty by helping the princess evacuate. That is what it's like to be a vert. The princess thinks, Why? Just why? No, because of me again. They hear a really loud cry. The princess says, "This cry? That sound?" A really big dragon appears above them. Cyan is holding onto its leg with tears in his eyes. This is the end. Subscribe for more.